Hi, everyone. Welcome back again. This is the Iconist Podcast. Hold on tight. This is Barry 3D, standing for Deep Dark Delicious. Hey. And on my side is my man, my cousin, my friend, my co-host,
DJ Rod C.
Wow, with the reverb. Look at that. Look at that. Go on with your bad self.
Gotta do.
That is awesome. That's hilarious. So, first of all, we're going to give our shout-outs, a round of shout-outs once again to Jaybird Digital Arts. Thank you for making us look pretty. Yeah. Jaybird has got the template. He's got our logo. He's got our names here below. He's got all that hooked up. And if you want to get any kind of artwork done, be it for physical or virtual, reach out to Jaybird Digital Arts. You'll see his contacts at the end of our video. Shout him out. Let him know you heard about him here. You saw his stuff here. You can check him out, and he's really gives a great price to all the, for graphic artists and all that. Great, professional, fast, great pricing. So definitely look him up. You can check out the rest of our stuff. You can see anything on all the links I do as my comedy and back out there a little bit. So go to my website, barry3d.com. Check out my tour dates. Check out my blog. I put all the information up on there and all the links. So thank you to all the fans tuning in. Thank you all join the Facebook page. Bless, every another day blessed is another day. So enjoy that day. Shout out to Jim Aldridge, and his podcast that he does is on season 2, which is called Back to the Balcony. So look for the microphone on the red background and just check out all those episodes. You can find links in my blogs for the times I've been on his show. Look up A Touch of Gray Matter. We are coming back soon enough with new episodes, but till then, you have 80-something videos in YouTube that are just there to be watched and commented on, and they go from funny to serious. With my boys, Zolf Ali, Thomas Patrice, the man behind it all, Dave Sokolowski, and myself, Barry 3D Carter. We bring guests on there. We do it amongst the four of us ourselves. So please check us out, and we're coming live. We got a couple of live spots coming out, so look for us coming up soon. You'll see us all four together on stage. So definitely check that out, my man. Also, Paul Ash out of Montreal. Check out his stuff for Battlecom, which is a nerd game show. Beyond, They Talk Funny, which is a nice interview show that he does with comedians all over the world. The Love Doctor. So he's got a lot going on virtually. All interactions are live because he does it on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. Check him out. Tell him you heard about it here. So that's it from my end, and everyone we shouted out, and all the people are tuning in all the time. So my man Paul Mackey, as I said, my cousin Kevin, my brother Brian, right? Jay himself from Jaybird Digital Arts, he tuned in, watches this. So thank you once again. My man John Rimple, and look back and see what we got going on. Rod, who do you got going on your side, man?
Listen, I got a lot of people. I got my boys, my DJ crew that I run with, DJ LFG, DJ Waka, DJ Prophet, DJ DOC, DJ Majestic, Tony Styles. Basically, listen, you can find me on Twitch. We're going to get to that part later, but you can definitely find me on twitch.tv/DJ Rod C. Find me on there. I play every once in a while. Not every once in a while. I play like twice a week. But, every while there's a lot of fun that's happening, man. Basically, there's a lot of fun. You can interact with a lot of people. It's a great community. Good. You can follow me on Instagram at Mr. Rod C. And you know what? Listen, find me on Facebook at Mr. Rod C. DJ Rod C on Facebook as well. So, listen, those are the shout outs to everybody who's following and having fun. Listen, continued enjoyment. Keep following us on Iconist. We're going to have some fun today. We got something for you. Are you ready?
Well, I don't think they
are. You ready?
What?
Are you ready?
I'm ready. I don't know if they're ready.
You're ready. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah!
Who are we talking about today, Rod? Give us a rundown.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be doing a little futuristic George Jetson kind of conversation. So what we're going to do is talk about a particular hero that you by name per se. And all this stretching around, we're going to talk about it. You probably say the lines everywhere talking about it. We're going to talk about Spiderman 2099.
1999. We're going to 2099.
Come
We're
on,
going to
come on.
2099. 2099. I know I can't sing, not even to get a dime. All right, so
Shame. And action. Holy Thilo Batman. I wasn't ready for that. He wasn't ready.
he wasn't ready.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about Spider-Man 2099. So basically, who this is basically a character who has been how do you say you stepped on? It's basically one of those like an alternate universe character that was created and putting a little different spin on the characters during that time frame when Marvel created this and they put this out. Barry's gonna definitely go into it, but in a nutshell, there was a slew of characters. They decided to say we're gonna try to do something of characters that we know and love, whatever the case would be. But what they did is kind of threw them into what would it be like if this character was in the year 2099. And there's a lot of good characters in here. You can see that there's definitely an alternate universe in the way we look at it. It's futuristic. It's in the same time frame, but it's a futuristic time.
Yeah.
But you're going to see some similarities. You're going to hear some stuff. So we decided to choose on Spider-Man 2099, and we went from there. So let's go.
Right on. Let's do this. So Spider-Man 2099. So as Rod was saying, yes, there was a whole series of books that were slated for 2099. So originally, this was supposed to be the definitive universe in the Marvel universe in the future on Earth 616, right? Mm-hmm. They said, okay, we're going to bring all these characters back. So starting off, it was Spider-Man 2099. And with that, and I know I might forget some, so forgive me, there was Spider-Man 2099, Hulk 2099, X-Men 2099, Punisher 2099.
Yes.
Hold on.
Doom 2099.
Doom 2099, right? So the list goes on and these are actually titles. They just weren't a character that showed up in someone's book. These were actual titles. So Spider-Man, X-Men, Hulk, Doom, Punisher, all had 2099 titles. The only original character was named Ravage 2099, who was not a legacy character. He was original to 2099 storyline.
Ghost Rider as well.
Yes.
Also had Ghost Rider 2099. That was a nice one as well.
Yes. And I remember I was very excited when I was hearing about the 2099 run. Mm-hmm. How they were starting off, how they were going to be. And so, and Spider-Man 2099, he first appeared in like a little backstory. At first, I get, Marvel was just kind of testing out the waters with the character, right? Mm-hmm. So, and they just wanted to be cool. So, I mean, the original run, so let's see here. So it first came out in November of 1992. And then it went, to August of 1996. That was like volume 1. And then volume 2 came back in September of 2014 to July 2015. And then volume 3 was December 2015 to July of 2017. So this is when this character came about. And it's been around for, since then. But once again, when I say he's slept on, he's popular and people want more. But I don't know if Marvel knows what to do with him at times. And they're just focusing on their main characters. So, this is how this whole 2099 thing came up, and it came up at a time where Marvel was going through a little bit of financial things were tough for them financially. Mm-hmm. We're in trouble. Things were tough for them financially. So that being said, they would start something, not finish it. And 2099 really, I said to me, it was a fun read. It was an absolute fun read because I like the fact that it was these characters in the future starting off. So, to give you just an overview of this, in 2099, there was no more heroes. Heroes were non-existent. Sure. They were almost seen as a godly status. Thor, who is a true god in the Marvel universe, and of course, people know Thor here in real life is God. He's worshipped that way, by the Norse, Vikings, so forth. So he was, he's a god in the Marvel universe. In there was a belief saying the heroes would come back, and the heroes, they're all waiting for the second coming of Thor, right? Because he's like Jesus. So they're waiting for the second coming of Thor. When Thor comes back, the age of heroes will return, but there was supposed to be a harbinger who would start this all off. and they all were waiting for this person to show up, which was Spider-Man. So there was a religious cult, not a religious cult, there was a religious belief behind it. So when Spider-Man first showed up, Spider-Man 2099, everyone says, oh, Spider-Man's the first, which means Thor is not far behind. Right? So all the religions that were believing the Church of Thor said, well, Spider-Man's a herald, so if one is here, the other ones are coming. And this showed you the time frame. So this is what, in the future, it's 2099. The rich are rich, the poor are poor. He was in a place called Nouveau York. So New York is built over. So New York is ground level, and Nouveau York is at the top above that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like almost like how Futurama did it, where, what you remember as New York, and then what their sister of New York is above it, like literally built above it, above those skyscrapers. So the people who were poor were down there. Miguel is from a mixed marriage, so his dad is his name's Miguel O'Hara.
Irish.
Yeah, so his dad is Irish, but his mom is Mexican. She's Latino.
Mexican.
Yeah. So his mom is Mexican. So, his father was very abusive. His father was a policeman. His father was very abusive. The couple split up, and Miguel, and it was him and his brother, Gabriel, were raised by their mom. Their mom, now this is why I mentioned the whole thing with the religion of Thor, very religious, following that religion of Thor. Mm-hmm. Right? But they thought she was always a little bit crazy too at the time. She was very eccentric, borderline. She had some personality disorders, which they covered too. So Miguel, at a young age, started demonstrating a genius level intellect. Right. But at the same time, he was rebellious because he was so smart. I guess he was bored and rebelling against his dad, his life. And he was sent over to the Alchemax, which is this huge mega corporation in the future, their academy, because, at the age of 14, he's pulling in these scholarships and everything like that. So he goes over there. And the beauty about that is Alchemax Academy is built over the remains of Westminster, the home of the X-Men.
Yes.
Same place, same address. What happened to the X-Men? You got to read X-Men 2099. So that's where Miguel jumps in, and he comes out as a character. And in there, he meets other people that are important to him. He's very self-serving. So when I read it, how Benedict Cumberbatch portrayed Dr. Stephen Strange in the beginning of the Doctor Strange movie is very similar how Miguel was as a person. Didn't trust anybody, all about himself, and he wasn't that great of a person. He was a douche. He had his girlfriend that he was going out with, that he met there, that she helped him out and helped him fight a bully when he was at the academy. They got together a long time. Then at one point, he was very self-serving. He went and ended up having a relationship. He cheated on his girlfriend with his brother's girlfriend.
You player.
Right? But then he ends up staying with the brother's girlfriend. So, of course, that causes a rift within the family, because it's like, wait, first of all, you cheat on your girlfriend, and then you take my girlfriend? Hold up. Wait a minute.
Wait, yeah. Who's passing the turkey? I'm a little confused. What's going over here at this table? Yeah. What's going down?
Rod, you're doing a lot more than passing the turkey. So where Miguel was very much a genius and with computers and a whiz, his brother was very artistic. His brother was a painter very well, but of course, once again, a little bit off. There was a lot of resentment between him and his brother because of, you took my woman. He Jerry Springered him. Jerry. So his brother is a painter and very artistic, sticks more with his mom. Miguel kind of pulls away from that, doesn't deal with his dad because his dad was abusive, thinks his mom is crazy, so he just brushes her off, doesn't trust anybody, doesn't even trust his girlfriend that he stole from his brother, turns around, and the only person he really trusts is Layla. And Layla is a holographic computer that's in his apartment that helps run everything. So how we have, hello Siri, and then if you have an iPhone, it's going to wake up, good luck to you. So she was a 3D hologram image, and he would actually confide to her and talk to her like a real person. And had her, the three, and when I say her, that's what he had her named Layla, and that's who you confided in. So being a genius and working for this mega corporation at the time, and he was like the top scientist, and he was working on a particular project. And, things were going a certain way, and he didn't want to be a part of this project. They were testing on humans, kind of splicing, animal DNA or whatever other DNA into human DNA. And they tried a test subject, and the test subject ended up dying. And he was like, nope, that's it. I'm done. I don't want to bother with this anymore. I'm out. Deuces. He went over, he told the big boss, Tyler Stone, said,
I'll give him my 2 weeks. I'm out.
2 weeks, I'm done. He's such a high-level genius. So keep in mind that company's invested so much in him from the age of 14 to being a grown man. And now he's just saying, yeah, well, I'm walking away with my education. They didn't take that too well. They didn't take that too well, right? So they said, okay, fine, no problem, Miguel. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. And then, he slipped him a Mickey. What I mean by that is he put a little something in, there's one particular drug in his system. And this drug it bonds with you on a genetic level. It's like crack times 1,000.
Like an it's addictive drug. It's an addictive drug.
Extremely addictive drug because it bonds with your DNA. So as the company, they can get it legally because they just administer this drug to other people. They produce it. So it's legal for them to get it. So, Stone turned around, his boss, and said, look, here's the deal. You stay with us. I supply you with the drug. No harm, no foul. If you leave, then I'm going to take it that you're getting the drug illegally from someplace else, and I'll report you to the police. So not only will you have an addiction for life, you'll have a criminal record. Your life is ruined. Right? Miguel says, well, I ain't going to bother with that. I'm going to go and do my own thing. It's like, okay, no problem. So because he was dealing with the splicing, Miguel went back to his lab and went back to his computer and got a sample because he got a picture. He used his sample just as genetic, just kind of get the genetic.
Just a baseline, right. Just as a baseline to get things going.
Exactly. And he went back to that template before, he had the drug in his system. He walked in the machine, says, well, I'm going to overwrite my DNA with my own DNA before he put the drug in me. Therefore, I'm going to overwrite and virus remove the addiction. So I can tell him to deuces, I'm out. But then, of course, there's always that evil coworker. Jealousy. So when Miguel went into the machine, that guy turned around and said, oh, you're using your own DNA as a template to kind of do that. Well, you know what? I'm going to put in 50% of spider DNA to make sure that you're mutated or you die and whatever case be. And if you're mutated, you're going to come out with a big bug eyes and arms sticking out of you like one of the Spider-Man issues when he mutates into a giant spider. And that's it. And his coworker was like all happy about that. Of course, with that drug in his system, the combination of the DNA and the mix of the spider DNA, the machine blows up. Miguel, jumps out. Security cameras see the explosion, but they don't see who that man is because they can't tell by his face. Right. And all of a sudden, he's butt naked. And he jumps out of he makes his way out of the building, which is a super, super, super skyscraper. Yep. And Miguel realizes something, that one, he's got little talons at the tips of his fingers that can come out and retract on an angle that allow him to climb. Later on, he realizes that his forearms start hurting. And when he presses on his forearm and his inside forearm, between the wrist, on the inside part of your wrist, a spider web comes out. His eyes are sensitive to light, so he starts wearing sunglasses. He realizes that he's got the powers of a spider. So he goes back to, and they don't know who it is. They just have his DNA sample, because a lot of the records got destroyed in the explosion. So they're sending out mercenaries to hunt him down because his boss realizes, like, hey, someone here created a super soldier. We need to find who it is and control him, because if I can get this, well, we always say super soldier. If I can get this altered human under my control, then I can also get the religious vote or people behind me, factors behind me, because I pretty much would be controlling a Spider-Man. So Miguel makes it back to this place, even though he's being hunted, he makes it back to this place and he finds one of his old costumes that he wore when he went to Celebration years ago, to the Day of the Dead celebration, which is a celebration that happens in Mexico. So you hear about Cinco de Mayo, Day of the Dead. That's really heavy into his roots and his mom, and I like that they brought that in. So he put on this costume because it's made out of unstable molecules, which means it won't rip easily. You want a good idea of what unstable molecules are? You look at the Fantastic Four. This is why they're able to wear the costumes they have, and they never get destroyed. Like when, Mr. Fantastic stretches, the costume stretches with them. When the Invisible Woman turns invisible, she ain't running around naked. When the Human Torch goes flame on, his clothes, his actual Fantastic Four costume doesn't burn because it's made out of unstable molecules, which is an invention by Reed Richards within the Marvel Universe on the 616 Earth. And then he gives this out to the material out to different people. So this is why the X-Men costume is made out of stable molecules. And it does help with, fire resistance and blunt, instruments, and helps with the bullets. This is why their costumes really at times don't rip. How'd that not rip? Well, that's why. Unstable molecules. So Miguel, with his unstable molecules, just made openings for the webs. It's just a costume that he had for the Day of the Dead, which is all blue, and it looked like a skeleton face, but it also looks like it's a morphed spider too at the same time. And when his talons come out, they won't rip the costume, but it still allows him to use the talons to climb, and, on the tips of his fingers and his toes, and allows him, and see it behind Rod, those talons are there, and it allows him to use those talons as a weapon to scratch someone. Right.
Spider time.
Spider. Exactly. So he's got enhanced strength, enhanced speed, no spider sense. He does do his own biological web, right? So he doesn't need to manufacture like Peter Parker. So if you watch Tobey Maguire when he was playing Spider-Man,
right,
boom, where'd it come from? They didn't say, but I can read. I can see that seems to be very reminiscent from the influence of that. If you want to see more of what this costume looks like, besides reading the comic books, if you watch the short-lived Spider-Man Unlimited or Ultimate, Spider-Man Unlimited, right? It's on Disney Plus. It's only 13 episodes. Even though it's Peter Parker,
it's similar.
He's in this costume. Peter Parker ends up on a different Earth, and he gets this nanotechnology which makes the costume, and it's pretty much Spider-Man 2099. Right. This was made to combat, Batman Beyond. Marvel, you just should have did Spider-Man 2099.
Could have just said that, but it's all right.
They just should have did Spider-Man 2099. There was no need to do Ultimate Spider-Man or a Spider-Man Unlimited.
You see the scenario for that, to me, as a pause, is like they had no trust in Spider-Man as their flagship, aka Peter Parker is their flagship. So having another Spider-Man, that's the only reason I can see. It's very painful to see that they did that. That you couldn't just trust to say, listen, people are smart enough to understand there's a Spider-Man and a Spider-Man 2099. The 2099 is something different. It's not in the previous word, so this is something different. Go with that.
Yeah, because clearly, if you would have looked at what DC was doing at the time, it's funny how the two of them kind of get things right and wrong. DC said, okay, well, here's Bruce Wayne as an old man. Terry McGinnis is Batman, is the new Batman. And fans got it. Fans liked it.
No problem. No problem.
So if they got it there, they should have got it here. Just saying. Right? And this character, he was created by Peter David and Rick Leonardi. Leonardi. There we go. So these are the two guys who created Spider-Man 2099. And I like that right away they've introduced and they've opened the door saying that within the first couple of issues that, okay, superheroes haven't been around for the longest time. He's the first person. So Spider-Man, once again, was the first. Like, almost like years ago, Spider-Man was the first, one of the first ones for Marvel. Spider-Man back again as being one of the first for Marvel in the 2099 universe. Fans loved him. The art was different. Fans liked the fact that, and there was no, let me go and find my old formula for Peter Parker and all that. The only reference of Peter Parker is when he looked up, when Miguel was doing some research on the heroes in the past, they mentioned something about Peter Parker being Spider-Man, but there was this big cataclysm, and a lot of the heroes ended up dying or disappearing, and they didn't go too much in it. They really left it open-ended so it wouldn't disrupt what was happening in Marvel presently, or not trying to put them in a hole that it had to follow a particular path.
Right.
Like Image did at one point, which worked out for Image, where, Image Comics, and this is off, the Image started off their run, and they had a whole bunch of their books, and a lot of their books were at maybe issue 10. And then they did an event where it was like a time traveling event. So it went from issue 10 to issue 25 for all their books. And then you're reading issue 25 and people are like, okay, well, this is how it's really definitely supposed to happen. And then you had to read the rest of the series for each individual run. So issue 24, and then you already had issue 25 and you're like, oh, so they released issue 25 out of order on purpose for an event, you know? So you're at issue 10, you're like, wait a minute, this character is not the same, or what happened to this character? What do you mean they died? Oh, okay, I got to keep reading. Got issue 25, I got issue 24. Oh, I got issue 25 like about over a year ago. Boom, this falls in line. Now you jump into issue 26. Boom, here we go. Keep on going. Now it makes sense. So, you know, that was a smart ploy for them. But I'm saying for Spider-Man 2099, this character had it all. And then even then, the closest we got to see him in as his true self, he's shown up in video games here and there. But if you watch Spider-Man Into the Multiverse, right? You watch the end credits, Spider-Man 2099 shows up.
Correct.
Yeah, he shows up. He does show up. I mean, and currently he, you know, I'm not sure what's happening with him, but I know last what I read about him was he went from the year 2099, different events, and now he's actually, Miguel is actually in current time, but you don't see or hear much of him.
Right.
I like this character more than I like Peter Parker at times.
Listen, he has a different quality, and I think that's the reason why you probably like him like I do, because he's just, when you hear, it's nearly not to say the solar opposite of Peter. You're not getting the kid friendly version. You're getting the person who's been through some trials and tribulation. He's not growing up in a safe environment home with Uncle Ben and Aunt May. He's grown up in a household where, you know, there are situations that kind of like, it's just giving you some rough times, and you can probably understand why his mind is going to be, if they decide to write his character in a particular way, the base is from his family upbringing. Living in, like you said, not in, well, New York type of scenario, but having all these, you know, just given the environment of the city and stuff like that. I just say you can see why this is not Peter Parker at all.
No,
it's not Peter. No. So you can see why this is something different. Like, hey, it's intriguing. It's different. Why is it intriguing? Let's find out some more. And you'll be able to break it in from there.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So first of all, you're right. Let's go back to his home life, right? So Miguel, he's you know, two different backgrounds. So it's Irish and Mexican, right? I like that aspect. Back in 1992, especially now in this day and age where everything's like, you know, more diversity.
Yes,
got to show more diversity, you know, in every genre we can, which is great. You know, so he wasn't a whitewash. Yeah.
Right. But in that time, it wasn't the norm. It wasn't
the norm. It was not the norm. So you made him half Irish, half Mexican. Okay. Beautiful. Right away, his mom is dealing with mental health. In 1992, 94, is dealing with mental health with his mom. The stress it does and puts on the family. Him trying to take on being the head of the family because his dad's not around. His dad is abusive because his dad has a drinking problem. But his dad is also a police officer. So his dad does his job well, but when he goes home, he likes to hit the bottle. When he's on duty, his dad's on duty, but his dad is so strict that it did cause problems. You know, that there is a lot to take on as a hero. So where Peter was always having his guilt, Miguel didn't feel guilty. Miguel felt that he was very self-made, self-entitled, and he's doing everything he can to take care of his mom, even though his mom doesn't appreciate him. He's still taking care of his brother, even though he took his brother's girlfriend, and then they're almost married. Till he screwed that up with his attitude, very full of himself. So he learns humility along the way. He turns around and he admits in one point that he was very blinded in life, in the sense of, well, I'm now, you know, taking myself to the big city. I'm doing what I need to do. No one can bother me, and that's it. And then when he looked around, he realized people were poor.
Right.
You know, he realized people were suffering. He realized that he needs to do something, and he wasn't aware of all that going on. So all the time when he thought his mom was a little bit crazy, and at times she's very eccentric, he realized, well, his mom needed the faith, and he shouldn't dismiss that.
All right.
So that with the family dynamic already with this character, and clearly if he's, I mean, everyone's talking about Miles Morales right now as the, Ultimate Spider-Man, right? But before Miles, there was Miguel. I mean, he every time he wears that costume, every issue you read of Miguel, you are seeing a representation of Mexican heritage, talking about of the Day of the Dead, which is a huge thing in Mexico.
Right.
Today, up to today, this is a huge thing. If you got to learn, it should have opened up, so I think a lot more Latinos should, maybe they weren't aware of his heritage. They weren't aware why he put on that costume. Clearly, Miguel, his name's Miguel, not Michael, Miguel. Miguel, they should have, as Marvel, should have put that narrative a little bit more to show the roots, because he identifies with one more than the other, but he's got Irish in him, but he really identifies with his Spanish roots. If he didn't identify them, he wouldn't have a costume to go with the Day of the Dead. He was raised by his mom. Even though he's mixed heritage, he was raised by his mom, so he's going to have more of his mom's, influence and her heritage, right? Just basic heritage. That's all I'm talking about.
Right.
So if you're looking for a character that needs to come back more in the forefront, even more so than now, Miguel. He wasn't written as, the stereotypical Latino. He had a great job. He's a smart man. He's got powers. So I think, people are crying diversity. Sometimes just look back.
Right.
I mean, come on. Magneto's Jewish. Way back early. And that's the beauty of Stan Lee. He writes his characters with all this history, but sometimes it gets overlooked.
It gets lost in the sauce in that sense. Like, you could even go with Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler is German.
Yes. Peter Rasputin's Russian.
Russian.
Aurora, she's African, right? Wolverine is Canadian, but that's it. Magneto, he's Jewish. I think at times it kind of gets under the wire, but he is Eric like Lancaster. I'm like, so Miguel, even though his last name is Ojeda, yeah, he's got the Irish. That's because he's not. But he was raised, and that costume. I love that costume, and that costume shows, proud Latino heritage. Right. So everyone's all on board about Miles Morales, and so am I. But before Miles, by years, no pun intended, maybe, there's Miguel. Right?
Completely.
Yeah. And he's not like some street thug, ASA. No, man. They wrote the character properly. They didn't stereotype him in that sense. Yeah. Right? So, I know they're always quick to create the new character, the new villain, the new hero. We don't need new every single month. We just need a new eye on the wealth of existing characters.
Right. Completely.
Miguel's that man for me.
Okay.
You teased them. I know they're supposed to do another Spider-Verse movie, and he was teased at the end. Meaning they want to bring him in, and people were like, out of all the Spider-Mans, and this the one you tease us with, because people are wanting to see this one.
Right. Listen, you know what? I kind of hope that they do bring him in, because we've seen the tease, we've seen the memes. If you ever seen the meme where you see Spider-Man pointing to someone else, another Spider-Man type character in the back area of some factory, in the parking lot with a truck, and he's like, "That's you? That's 2099. That's Spider-Man 29." So they're already testing the waters, and I believe they actually like what they're seeing. I hope that they see enough proof to bring him in. If you want to test it out, like you said, there's a lot of type of actions, physical action or attributes that you're going to want for Spider-Man to conduct and to be. And we'll get to the part talking about this, but it'd be good if it was maybe just a anime.
Yes.
Doing that, just having it as an anime, because I mean, having a cartoon, basically having it as a cartoon type of genre for this one. But so McGill to me, I mean, he's like I said earlier, he's just like the opposite of Peter Parker, but he's giving you that heart and that type of um, the heart of what's going on in that time, and how someone can still see the need of having some type of heroes. Like you said, this is the day of heroes when they should be coming back. And when you see upon the light of seeing Thor, you're going to see the age of heroes because there's no heroes in that time frame.
That's right.
If he's now realizing that he has his opportunity to basically be a champion, be someone who can help out the little man, help out the smaller person, and give something. You've been blessed with these type of opportunities. Again, like you said, it's basically repeating, but you said he's a very religious type of person. You just have the ability to have this instilled, realizing I may have been bestowed upon this gift by some freak accident, and how can I use it? How can I better myself? How can I better people around me? So I mean, it's really just kind of along that line. That's really what it is.
Well, that's it. I mean, look, okay, Peter Parker and Miguel O'Hara, both of them are geniuses. Great.
Correct.
Okay.
We'll take that off.
We'll take that off. Both of them are geniuses. Okay. And I know they're both following the Spider-Man thing. But Peter Parker, slacker. Because he's never fully applied himself as Peter Parker. Right? Everyone knows he's a genius. Okay. You see him walk in the room with Reed Richards. Reed Richards says, "Oh, Peter, you're extremely smart." And he works out mathematical problems and biological, all these problems with
when needed.
Yeah, even though he's always cracking wise and cracking jokes, when he focuses, he's dangerous because he's got that intelligence. And he's standing with Reed Richards. Reed Richards doesn't have to explain the math. Reed Richards is there working with him doing the math. Okay, granted. When Peter Parker was with the Avengers, Spider-Man was with the Avengers, Peter Parker won. Tony Stark turned around and looked at him like, "You're a genius. Do all this stuff." But for some reason, Peter can't get serious enough to use that to benefit Peter Parker. He's, for a guy as smart as he is, and with a big heart as he is, but as smart as he is, and he's living in a roach-infested apartment with no furniture, like, come on, man, right? Like, he can't keep a basic job, and he always blames it on Spider-Man, but he gets too caught up in his thoughts. When he was married to MJ in that original run, where he finally gets married to Mary Jane, right? Mary Jane is a fashion model, and she's doing what she needs to do, and she was pulling in big bucks. And then at one point, he comes with great ideas. It's like, you know what? I'm going to do a coffee book about all the Spider-Man pictures I did. And J. Jonah Jameson was cursing him, and then he went on a talk show run across America promoting his book. Peter has all these skills, but he doesn't apply himself. And I don't know why. And, as a teenager, okay, you can get it, right? Because he was Spider-Man when he was a teenager. But now he's a grown man with a family. You would think, okay, I'm Spider-Man. But at the same time, if I can hang with, Tony Stark and he's giving me recommendation, and Reed Richards can give me recommendation, I can go and make something to make a business for myself, right? The difference with Miguel's applied. Miguel turned around. He knows he's a genius, makes him a little bit of a dick, but he's working with the biggest mega corporation there, Amagla X or Max or whatever in the future, and he's making his money. When you see Miguel's living in his posh condo with this, 3D Surrey kind of thing, Layla. He's living the life. He's covering his bills, and he lives alone, so he covers his bills. He covers all his mom's medical bills. He covers his mom's, he wanted to, keeps moving your mom. It's like, "Mom, I'll move you into this nice, retirement community, condo, whatever case means, high scale, 5 stars. She wants to stay in her crappy apartment." He's like, "Mom, I'm paying for you, but why live here? I can afford for you to live better. I make all this money." And she says, no, right? And that's where it gets to that little angst with the two of them. He's able to do that. When his brother needs money, his brother calls him up. "Oh, you need money again for whatever stupidness? Okay, well, I'll give you this," because he doesn't believe in it. If he believed in what his brother was doing, he would give him more. So we're the two start off this way and they do this, right? It's like literally opposite sides of the coin. So I never really read the issues where Miguel meets Spider-Man, but I'm sure if it was a long-standing issue where it was Miguel and Peter Parker talking, Miguel's gonna look at Peter going, "What's wrong with you? You could be better off financially, which would be better off for you as Peter Parker, which would be better off for you as Spider-Man, right? You're the one that turned me on to, was it Superior Spider-Man?
Right.
Where where Dr. Octopus takes over Peter's body and starts
Right.
doing all these things. And Peter was even himself saying, I didn't realize I can do that with my powers.
Right.
It's like Rich Rider Nova became Nova as a young kid, around the same age as Spider-Man, right? He was a teenager. But if you look at Nova now compared to Nova before, Nova's learned to do things with his powers that have gone right up. But he's like the leader of the Nova Corps, and he's got the power to give people powers to be like extra Novas and all that. And Peter's still trying to figure things out. So someone had to take over Peter's body for Peter to say, "Oh, I can use my spider sense that way. I can do that way. I didn't know that. I could." Like, Peter, you're a genius. How come you never did these things before?
Come on,
You should have done these things before. Yeah, I guess I should have. I'm like, okay, Peter. It's like, so Miguel, to me, you're right. Should have his own animated series. I can see him even in live action. I was going with that aspect, but I like.
We go with live. We'll go with live action. We can go with live action.
Yeah, because my guy, my guy will still give the voice live action, and my guy will do it. As they're doing it, the voiceover. I'm still with my actor. I'm sticking with him either way, no matter what genre it is.
Okay.
So that's what it is. I mean, I don't think his rogues gallery wasn't all that, but the important issues to read are to me, the first 14, 15 issues of Spider-Man 2099. I like the art, like as you can see behind Rod. I like how they introduce the character. And then it's really important to read those early issues of him, because at one point Thor does show up. Thor, air quotes, does show up. But it's a Thor that company that he's trying to fight makes to capitalize on Thor coming back. So first they make this big floating city, or a big floating tower, right? Called Valhalla. And then the imitation Thor shows up, with the imitation Baldar, saying, okay, they're taking over this tower. They're calling it New Valhalla. They're going to bring back the gods. So everyone that believes in Thor, the return of Thor, they're not going to deny it, because Spider-Man came back. So now Thor is back. Oh, this is the new age of heroes. Thor is here. So all those people that had those beliefs are rushing to the churches and giving donations, and the churches are making more money. And that corporation that, Malcolm X, or and I know I'm mispronouncing it, is that Miguel's trying to bring down, are all behind this, because it's a cash grab, trying to get people to believe. Because now, if they're there, if Thor's living in that city of Valhalla that's on Earth, that was made by them, guess what? Real estate prices just went up. So Spider-Man starts fighting the fake Thor, and it's a crossover event where they bring in Punisher, Ravager, Doctor Doom. And the only interesting thing about that 2099 is Doctor Doom 2099 is the official Doctor Doom from present day. He makes it to 2099. So it's not someone else taking up the mantle like every other hero. Right?
Yeah.
Every other hero is someone brand new taking on the 2099 mantle, except for Doctor Doom. So it's a fun crossover. The first, the first 15 issues, I was like, yeah, I read the crossover. I've got the bulk, pretty much the whole run of the original Spider-Man 2099 packed down here in the basement, and in its pristine boxes and stuff like that. And yeah. So all about 2099. What about you, Rob? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, let me see how I'm gonna add on top. Well, basically, listen, the Spider-Man 2099 was a great read. I read it when it came out. I was reading it when it was coming out, in '92. So back in them days, I was picking it up and trying to keep up with it and stuff. Because I liked it. It was different. It was different. It wasn't. And I'm always, got the shirt, I love Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man, Peter Parker and everything like that. So it's a different vibe. It's a different feel, you see? There you go.
There you go, man.
So, I liked it. When you read into it, like I said, you read into it, you realize the backstory, understanding like where he's coming from. And it's that futuristic, like you said, it was there to be the Batman Beyond kind of a counterattack.
Yeah, the show. Yeah, right.
Right. It was kind of against that, and you realize as well, hey, Batman Beyond, I digged it, I got it, read this, it makes sense. So I had no problem with that. I liked it, and definitely you see there's always been a couple of like you said, revisits, research of 2099, bringing it back in and everything like that. Um, but I would say that if anybody hasn't ever given this a chance, get a chance, take a look for it. Find it. You can find it. Look for it online. You can find Spider-Man 2099. Check any of the different versions. The ones that get from like 92. Barry said 92, 2014, 15,
Yep.
19. They brought it back a couple of times, and you can see that they even have a Spider-Man 2099 versus Venom 2099.
Yep.
Venom 99 was another one too as well.
Yeah, well,
So
they really expanded that storyline. I mean, that whole
that
universe. I mean,
universe,
they killed it. They killed it off, and they kind of wrapped it up in a couple of issues, But yeah, you're saying it's great, and I think if you want to see the ultimate Spider-Man Unlimited, then you go on Disney Plus, watch those 13 episodes, sit there, okay, gotcha, And it was Spider-Man, Peter Parker fighting the High Evolutionary, who will be popping in soon in the MCU. So keep an eye out for the High Evolutionary coming in the MCU. I have a feeling he's going to popping in there. But for Spider-Man 2099, he needs to come back. I think I wanted to see, when I say come back, give him his book back, put him in his proper timeline. Let's see what's going on. And I think they really need to emphasize the heritage, especially now everyone's dealing with mental health. This would be a really good tie-in to deal with mental health, abuse. Let's see what the future holds for these characters. Give them some proper rogues. Don't have to be a Venom 2099 and a Goblin 2099. And let's give them a good villain, a good looking villain. When I mean good looking, I mean not a villain with a weird look. It's all about everything. It's got to be pleasing to the eye. That's why I wasn't keen about Ravage. Ravage 2099. I read the book and I'm like, okay, so he's got like sandals with like super long toenails and a big mane hair. It's like it's not
Hulk. I think even Hulk 2099 was kind of like overdone and overgrowth. And you know what? You're absolutely right. Like, not even to segue off so much that some of the characters, the way it was drawn, it was a little bit extra grubby, more.
Yeah, it looked like a
hard, extra harder than you think. It's like it wasn't really necessary. It wasn't really necessary. But I mean, in all, just sticking with Spider-Man 2099, it was a great run. And I believe that if anybody picks it up, you would actually like it. I think you would actually like it. And seeing that there's been a lot of I'm seeing there like four or five different iterations and versions of it. There's someone upstairs in Marvel feels is worth bringing back, so they keep bringing it back. So people, they're testing out on someone's liking it. So I feel there's a crowd for it. There's people for it that would definitely take it in and be able to just continue with that. So I mean,
look, Ben Reilly, people liked it when he was there, right? And like that version of Scarlet Spider.
Yeah.
Miles Morales. All right, everyone's extending that Miles Morales and Peter Parker within the same universe, and they're liking that because they got rid of the Ultimate Universe. They merged them. Okay, great. Spider-Man 2099. There's a fan base for it. You just need a good story for it, and you need to give him a good villain that would fit his character, and build up a nice rogues gallery. They started to, but go back maybe to some of them, retune them, bring back some of his, some of the ones he's fought before. Give him a nice rogues gallery. Give him a couple of original villains that really push him, like how Venom pushed Peter Parker Spider-Man when he first made his appearance. That took him to the limits. He needs his big hoorah moment.
Yes.
That's what he's missing. Give him that, and I'm all for it. So that being said, I was kind of going with the aspect that we're going to do a live action, like a live action series, not so much a movie. Give me my weekly, series on a streaming service somewhere. Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I mean, let's put it this way. Disney Plus has been knocking it out the ballpark with, WandaVision, right? The Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, and coming up with She-Hulk. Okay, so I think if you're going right now with the characters that are established right now, as they are, take a chance. You're doing a What If cartoon series. I think give me a Disney Plus series.
Yeah.
Live action, Spider-Man 2099. Right? Open the door. Let's see what happens. If you're able to put that budget behind the other ones, this one would be killer. I mean, look what they did with the Mandalorian. People love the Mandalorian, and the Mandalorian is pretty much to me a manga series that was called Lone Wolf and Cub. That's very similar. If you know Lone Wolf and Cub, then you know what the Mandalorian is. If you know what the Mandalorian is, you know what Lone Wolf and Cub is. It's just Lone Wolf and Cub is a samurai with his kid, right? So there we go. So my pick here for if we had to cast Miguel,
right?
I went really with a Latino actor, right? He's not mixed, but still pull it off being mixed, all acting. And I went with an actor called named Tyler Posey. So Tyler Posey was in the TV show Teen Wolf.
Okay.
Right? If you look at him, yeah, he's got, clearly he's Latino, right? So he just has to play that he's mixed. Okay. But he's got, when you see him and the roles he pulled in Teen Wolf, and the role he was playing, at one point he get very dark, very serious. I think he would be a good Miguel. He's got the body, the face for it. I like Tyler's look, and I can see him very easily slipping into that role. And then, after seeing him in Teen Wolf, yeah. Have you seen some of the stuff he's done in Teen Wolf? Absolutely. That to me, he screams Miguel.
Gotcha. Okay, that's good. That's good. Listen, I was debating. With this one because I was trying to.
I think he's Latino. He's got that Latino.
He looks it. As I look at the picture,
so,
right?
Yeah.
He
was on the Teen Wolf series there from 2011 to 2017.
He is. He is. He's very, very close. His mother is Mexican. His father is British Ales.
Oh,
British,
okay.
British
See? So he's already mixed. Ha!
He's already.
Okay.
Well,
if it had to be a cartoon, I would still get him to do the voice. And the fact that live action, if you take a look at him, Teen Wolf, he's Miguel. Give him a pair of glasses. He's got that cool, suave look. He's got confidence behind him. That's Miguel. That's Miguel right there, man. That's my Spider-Man 2099.
Got it. Okay, cool. So like I was saying, I was going through a couple of people, and I was actually looking for seeing if I can find someone, and if he happens to be to be of a mixed heritage as well. I was going to look from that end, but seeing that he was either Irish or being Mexican, I just wanted to see if I can find someone. So, as everybody knows, I always seem to like this. Let me look from any visual I know from people that I've seen. I chose Armie Hammer.
Oh.
So I was going with Armie Hammer. Checking out, finding out he has English, Scottish, German, Russian, Jewish ancestry. So he has a Scottish Irish in there. When you look at him, you may not see the features to be, say, Mexican, but again, you know what? You could probably just work it off again because he's mixed with his father is. You could just say his mother gave him the Mexican first name,
right?
And maybe he doesn't have the features to portray it, but we'll go with that. But I was going with McGill. I'm going with Armie as McGill from the Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah.
So the Man of U.N.C.L.E., so we got the acting chops, we got the fighting chops in there as well.
Mm-hmm. But wouldn't you find he's a little bit too big though? Because to me, when he's in The Man from U.N.C.L.E., he's actually taller than and Henry Cavill.
Well, this is where I'm trying to figure out, because when you see like this picture, and I see yours too. You know what? I didn't really go back, and I admit I didn't go back to see if there was a size for McGill, official size for how I call McGill supposed to be. But I'm looking at this when I see this, because to me, I know your picture.
Yeah.
But this is from like the 92 run.
Yeah.
Like this picture from the 92 run. Right. And I gravitated always to this particular visual of him. And, he's working in a lab. He's like he's the head of the department and everything like that. So I was thinking that he had that prestige type of, you could put him in a suit and he can look like the part. You can put him in, looking like he's the lead. Because again, he's not, although he's a genius, and he's on the floor running the research lab and everything like that. He's the actual head of it. So he's not the guy who's always in the lab working behind the bench from 9 to 5.
Right.
He's the guy who would do that, but he's also around. So I was just giving him more, I was going more from the
No, and I get it. It's just that, yeah, and I mean,
but you're right. I couldn't
right?
remember. I couldn't remember the height. Yeah,
because I'm not going so much by Miguel's height. I'm going by Army's height, and he's like 6'5".
He's 6'5".
He's taller than Henry. Henry's 6 foot. Henry,
yeah,
because Henry's like 6'2". Ben Affleck's like 6'4". That's why Ben Affleck stands up, and he's taller. Batman's taller than Superman, right? But these are men pushing 6 feet,
right?
And Army, when you watch the Man from Uncle, when you see Henry walking, I'm like, oh, okay, man, I already know he's big. And then I see this other guy walking, I'm like, holy crap!
Yeah. I you know what? I guess because I wasn't going with the height too touch. I was kind of hoping we can work around that, but you're right. Okay, so you know what? I'm
not knocking it.
No. I know, but you're bringing valid points. These are the points you got to think about. Like I told you, when we do these things, sometimes I got to feel like I'm like a casting director. I got to look for what's good and what's the pros and cons. How can I pull this person and use them? Height would be it. I probably would have looked at the paper like, bring Army in. Like, Army, I forgot how tall you are, my friend. You're a tall guy. You got some girth on you, sir.
You're a full buffet.
You're a full buffet, boy. Watch as I step on me. Sorry, better with my little short self. Oh, God.
Like, okay, we'll bring you back when we need someone to fight Godzilla.
Right there, boy. So, I mean, I got my second guy, but we'll stick with that. I'm going to stick with that.
Okay, all right.
For the paperwork, I can say my second guy. Could I say my second guy? Should I say my second guy?
It's our show. You can say what you want to say.
You're down, skip me. Hold on. Actually, could I have? No. I wasn't going to deal with that guy. I was going to go with you did Tyler. So it was William. So William Levy, how is that? Levy. William Levy. He was in Resident Evil, like the final chapter. So he's one of the guys that basically was there with
okay.
Yeah. So when you see him, like, I remember him. I'm just looking at him, whatever the case may be, and I was like, you could probably fit that criteria. But that's why I was thinking, well, I recall Army more than William, and I'll be honest with that. I do remember Army more than William, and I do remember in the movie, but I just was just like, well, he's in here in the action, so I can say, but you got the acting chops. At least you're in some type of action.
Well, I might have to steal this pick for another guy. Okay, cool, gotcha.
So yeah, but I mean, he could work it out, and he does have the because he's born in Cuba.
Right.
So he does have that. Then he has the authenticity, his face. He has the look. So he could work that McGill aspect of it. But it was just, I just couldn't recall how deep of the action was he doing. Like, this is, again, with this movie, there's action. Well, so I know he had, that's what I mean. So he had to be able to keep up with it. So I can go with that.
He got parkour the hell out of this movie.
Yeah.
It's all about parkour, man. He got to be captain.
But this is Mila Jovovich, her movie. So she's all that action.
Yeah.
So they got to have someone who can keep up with her.
Yes.
So it would work. It would work. So if anything, maybe I'll go with William. You know what? Let's go with William. You brought up an actual fact. I'm like, I wasn't thinking. Normally I try to keep that in mind.
Right.
But then you got to realize like who you're talking with, and like, yeah, Army, you're a big dude. You're a big dude.
Thanks, Spiderman.
Yeah. Yeah. Spider-Man, can you get this cat out of my tree? No problem.
Right? See, look, if they had to do if you had to do a Spider-Man 2099, and then you brought in Arnie as maybe Venom. I got to look at who Venom 2099 was, but just physical wise.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Right? I mean, I don't know enough about Venom 2099. Actually, that's the one I don't. So I got to go back and see what this character is all about. But yeah, but that's yeah, man.
We can work with William. Okay, we're going with William. William's on the block. Sorry. I mean, Yeah, William's on the block. He's on the official block, so we'll put him on the block for the poll later. There we go. Let's make it official. William Levy is on it. There you go.
William's on the block. Got it. Okay.
Billy on the block.
Okay, I see Venom 2099 here. I see him. I see him. All right,
I
man.
have to check that myself.
You see?
So
yeah, because I guess got to catch a picture of him out of costume. But till then, this was not about Venom. This is all about Spider-Man. We've come to another end of episode.
Mm-hmm.
And our epilogue on this one is very simple. Please like, subscribe, and share.
Mm-hmm.
Check the links down below. Tell your friends. Thank you to the people that have tuned in, the fans that are watching. And keep an eye out on our Facebook page for the straw poll that we're using to cast votes. So it's all in that, anonymous. You don't got to put your name in there. It's just really we put our picks. You click on either mine or Rod's, or you click on comments and you write a comment in there, or add it on our Facebook page, and we'll plug it in and keep it out all of mine. And we're gonna start talking about these results extremely soon. So let you know how things are going with the whole voting aspect. So that is that. Any final thoughts there, Rod?
Well, everything is good. Listen, basically, this is a good read. Disney Plus, if you get an opportunity, you know what? Add it in. Give it a try. I think you might surprise some people, and people will be surprised and actually gravitate to it. I think it's going to do good. I'll just leave it at that.
I'm with you on that one, Rod. I'm absolutely with you. So, on our final note here, we'll say this. Thank you for tuning in. This is the Iconist Podcast. And remember, this whole world we talk about started with a pencil, a piece of paper, and lots of imagination. Keep on dreaming.
Dream on, people, dream on. Dream on, dream on.
I'm dreaming. I'm out.
Nice.